Behram, you may want to give 2 more minutes.
So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Behram Pastakia, and I am a radiologist in Washington, D.C. And it is my privilege to moderate this session with a very talented, well-known faculty. What we are trying to do today is to see the evolution of WZCC under the leadership of Edul Daver. Just the definition of the word entrepreneurship has changed our mindset, and he'll talk more about it later. Let me begin by introducing who's going to speak today and who's here to help us sort through this. First is Edul Daver, who is a graduate from IIT Mumbai. He took further education in University of Wisconsin in metallurgy, went on to own his own company in metallurgy. He is the current Global World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce Global President. And he's been involved with WZCC from even before its inauguration in the year 2000 at the 7th World Zoroastrian Congress in Houston. He's co-chair of the Zoroastrian Entrepreneurship Development Fund with Homi Gandhi, which is a new entity which has been developed to help entrepreneurs in North America. And he's also on the core group of the Zoroastrian Faculty Network. After him, we'll have Farrokh Mistree, who is a graduate also from the IIT, but this time from Kharagpur. He did his PhD from the University of California in Berkeley. He has been active in Zoroastrian associations all over the world, including in Australia, Houston, Atlanta. He was on the executive committee of Fizana some years ago. The Zoroastrian Faculty Network is the brainchild of Farrokh Mistree. And in his remarks, he'll talk about the mission, vision, and what he expects from us to help move this needle forward. He serves as a professor at the University of Oklahoma, named professor with his wife, Janet Allen. And currently his passion is to look at the wicked problems of the world and see how they could be solved in collaboration with civil society. Next up is Yazdi Tantra, who is a household name in the global Zoroastrian diaspora. He had the vision of having the entire world Zoroastrian community under one roof, which was an idea which was mooted at the third coming together roundtable held at the Dadar Parsi Athornan Institute many years ago. He has taken this idea and helped us all come together as one big global Zoroastrian diaspora. He serves as the global vice president of the WZCC and recently made waves by getting his promotion at the Zoroastrian Bank in India. Yazdi will share resources available on the Zoroastrian Faculty Network website, which has been created, which serves as a resource for all who are interested. We have with us Farrokh Rustomjee, who is one of the founding members of the WZCC chapter in New Delhi, graduate from Loyola College in Chennai. He runs the very prestigious R.D. Sethna Scholarship Funds from the beautiful Esplanade House in South Bombay. He has helped countless Indian students achieve their academic goals by providing them support with financial aid from his own trust and also guiding them with colleagues of his at the J.N. Tata Trust and in the consulate offices of the United States and other countries in India. We're very lucky to have him join us. And we also have Karishma Koka, who got her from Bangalore initially, who got her training at the Tata Institute of Fundamentals of Social Sciences and her PhD from Cambridge University. She's a neuroscientist. And her mission, as far as I can see, is to lead us all towards Farrokh, learning from the Gathas and applying the lessons from the Gathas in our daily lives so that we all come together. We also have with us today to help us out, Aisha Rabadi Raul, who is a PhD from Teachers College in Columbia University. She is involved in child psychology. She recently in Toronto, Canada, and she'll be moving to faculty position in Sonoma, California, which is near San Francisco. So that is our panel today. And before I hand it over to Edul, I want to emphasize what we are here about today. The idea is to understand the synergies between intellectual, economic, and social entrepreneurship. How does that synergy occur? And what are the instruments which have been developed by us in our community to make that happen? And there we have WZCC, ZFN, and ZEDF all coming together to make it happen. With that, I'll hand it over to Edul Daver to take it from here. Thanks.
Thank you, Behram. A warm welcome to the WZCC directors, chapter chairs and their committees, India Business Advisory Committee, ZF trustees and the Business Advisory Board, honorary members, Global Working Group, and friends. WZCC has spread its wings, and today we would like you to understand the changes that are taking place. This change is happening as a result of synergy between WZCC, ZF, ZFN, and also collaborations with organizations such as WZO Trust Funds, Fizana, Competitive Mindset Institute, IIT Gandhinagar, RD Setna Funds, Charity Funds of Hong Kong, the Parsi Press, and many more. So you see that there's a lot of people involved in this effort. A disclaimer before I start my talk. I refer to the letter Z sometimes as Z, so please excuse that. So with that, Yazdi, I'd like to start the presentation. A little 30 seconds on the history of entrepreneurship. A number of you have heard it before, but I would just like to run through it very quickly. Joseph Schumpeter, an Austrian economist, in 1911 wrote a book on the theory of economic development in German. He explained the concept of taking good care of your business with innovation and creativity, most visible in startups and small companies, and called it Unternehmer. The literal translation of the word Unternehmer, which is a German word, is caretaker in English. With the rise of the political situation in 1930s, he immigrated to the USA and became a professor at Harvard University. The English edition of his book was published in 1934, and the word Unternehmer became entrepreneur. This gained popularity in the 1970s. Nothing really happened between the 1930s and 1970s. When the US started facing competitive pressures, and it was realized that that entrepreneurship would make the companies much more competitive, and it started becoming a popular concept. Around 1983, Howard Stevenson, the guru of entrepreneurship at Harvard Business School, defined it as the pursuit of opportunity beyond resources control. It's a very simple but very, very powerful definition. If you look at the definition, it clearly requires creativity, innovation, a desire to change, which in turn implies calculated risk. It's seen in startups, small companies, most often, but it's also visible in pockets of large corporations, professionals, nonprofits, social enterprises, education. And now to go a little bit on to WZCC in particular. WZCC was founded in 2000, but even as recently as 2015, many people refrained from getting involved with WZCC because they felt entrepreneurship was only for startups and business owners. The board made a concerted effort to change this perception. WZCC started doing socio-economic projects, started recognizing social entrepreneurs. WZCC was introduced to ZFN, which is a Zoroastrian faculty network, at a global working group meeting and decided to collaborate. ZFN was formed with a 6-person team, 3 from India and 3 from the US, and under the leadership of Professor Farrokh Mistree, took on a life of its own. Today, Karishma and Yazdi will give you an appreciation of what ZFN has already accomplished, and Farrokh Mistree and Farrokh Rustomjee will present the future goals and aspirations. Everyone hopefully is also aware that WZCC has started a major added value benefit of funding budding entrepreneurs with interest-free loans. In India, this is a collaboration between WZCC India and the WZO Trust Funds. In North America, it is ZF, which is a collaboration of WZCC with Fizana. Let me take a couple of minutes to explain some profound changes taking place, which we are referring to as WZCC, CFN, ZF, Synergy for Entrepreneurship. This synergy has widened our thinking to make WZCC a more holistic organization. It has become very clear that entrepreneurship is more than just creating economic value. It simultaneously must create social value and intellectual value, and the nexus or overlap should be as pronounced as possible. This is very visible in the 3 circles you see on the right. Every organization is creating economic value or social value or intellectual value, and in most cases, it's a combination of all 3. And if you can maximize that, you've got the best world. Now let's look at a few of the changes which are taking place. It has also become clear that we should be taking the development of entrepreneurs more seriously. WZCC is introducing entrepreneurship concepts to children 10 and 16 years of age, which has been going on by our youth entrepreneurship programs all over the world. We are working to have youth in grades 11 and 12 and higher attend a course called FLY, Find the Leader in You, organized by the Competitiveness Mindset Institute to make young minds more competitive and more entrepreneurial. We are working with IIT Gandhinagar and Piruz Kambata of Rasna to offer business incubation opportunities with angel funding. ZF, as you know, has also offering funds for entrepreneurs. Now, ZF wanted WZCC to fund graduate students with development loans. ZF has approved funding for a ZF Scholar for a master's program in entrepreneurship with a loan of up to $30,000, which is 15% of ZF funds will be allocated to this. We're also looking at funding a PhD student with collaboration with R&D Setna Scholarship Funds and the Charity Funds of Hong Kong. So you can see here that there's a lot of synergy taking place. If it wasn't for a global working group meeting, we wouldn't have heard of ZFN. If it wasn't for ZFN, we wouldn't be thinking of development and education of entrepreneurs. So each thing is tied into each other, and there's tremendous synergy between these 3 organizations. In short, you can see WZCC being a catalyst for the synergistic creation of economic, social, and intellectual value. With that, I would like to turn over the meeting to Farrokh Mistree.
Thank you, Edul, for providing the context within which ZFN is to operate. The World Zarathustra Chamber of Commerce, in partnership with Zarathustra faculty and academia, envision empowering Zarathustra students to learn how to create economic, cultural, and intellectual value. This maps into exactly what Edul has talked about in the previous slide, and the mission of WZCC. So that you can see the synergism between WZCC and the ZFN mission. At this time, the ZFN mission is limited. We want to facilitate Zarathustra youth through higher and specialized education to pursue careers in industry, government, and academia as business entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and knowledge entrepreneurs. This again ties into what the WZCC mission is. The ZFN webinars, we offer them once a month, and these are conversations to help Zarathustra youth with support of their parents to attain higher and specialized education. The important part here is parents and their youth. And the second part is it's a conversation. It is something that continues. It's not a lecture. It is not you do this, you do that, you do the other thing, but it's a conversation. And this conversation, we hope, will lead to a learning community as we proceed. This initiative has been supported by R.D. Sedna Scholarship Fund and through the good graces of Farrokh Rustomjee, who will be telling you a little more about that. Next slide, please. So this slide is a busy slide. And what I want to do out here is to give you an overview of what we are planning for the year. It's tentative, things might change, but I'll highlight some of the thought that has gone into putting this together. We are putting this together to facilitate Zarathustra youth to pursue graduate degrees in India or overseas. We have already given a webinar on applying to graduate school in the United States and UK. That was on the 26th of September. We then say, all right, how do we help our parents and their children to figure out where they have to study? So that's on October 24th. In November, we are planning to get the students and their parents to recognize the difference between preparing a child for a naukri, as is the case for many parents in India, and a career. And our focus there is to reinforce the message of that Edul has put before you in terms of the integration between economic, social, and intellectual value. Funding is very important. And so Farrokh Rustomjee has organized will be organizing for December 19th, a forum on scholarships funding for higher education. In January, we are planning, again, now we've got the children to graduate school. How can you get the most out of graduate school? What do you do? How do you adjust to it? Planning, networking, selling yourself, developing professional skills along those lines. In February, it is very important for our Zarathustra students to feel happy, to recognize Ushta, to be in touch with themselves, to be comfortable with who they are, what they are, comfortable with their identities, grow their identities. So we have a webinar on being happy as Zoroastrian graduate students when they're away from home. How do you connect with your parents? How do you work with your parents? How should the parents connect with the children? In March, we plan to host a webinar on highlighting people who've been happy and successful in education, finance, and medicine. And these people are people who have the dhyanat to give back to the community. They are not just economic tourists or people who go to the United States and say, oh, I've got my degree, I've got my money, so forget it, I'm not a Zoroastrian anymore, stuff like that. Here, we are going to highlight people who've lived lives, who've got degrees in education, finance, and medicine, and are giving back to the community. In April, we want to focus on this notion of giving back. For example, Edul is giving back. Rohinton Rivetna is a classic example of giving back. Rohinton and Roshan Rivetna. Dolly Dastu is a classic example of giving back. They have lived their lives and they've given back to the community. So what makes them, what persuaded them to have that dhyanat of giving back? And then in May, we plan to have challenges on coping strategies for studying in India. We are going to be on the 4th Sunday of every month, and we've changed the time, and the tentative times are there. So what is our plan? How to get into graduate school, how to finance your graduate education, how to grow as a Zartusti with the Dhyanat of giving back. Thank you. So next slide. So how can WZCC participation help us? The first is for you to understand what ZFN is about and what ZFN together with WZCC is trying to accomplish. That is very important. Understand. The second is to make a commitment to participate, a small commitment, not a big commitment, just a small commitment. It could be that we will forward the information. It could be that, yes, we found somebody who could talk on this thing, etc. And then take action. So we are looking for small steps. Specifically, identify Zartusti students interested in pursuing graduate studies. This can be done through the various chapters. Identify Zartusti faculty around the world. This is not just in the United States or UK. Right now, it's in the United States and UK and Canada with the Dhyanat of giving back. It's not just faculty who are in positions and they just think about themselves, but faculty who want to give back, who want to mentor, who want to help the next generation be like us. Support the WZCC, ZFN scholars in various ways. This could include internships. Internships back in India, return to roots. It's a fantastic idea that companies in India, companies in the United Kingdom, companies in the United States, companies in Australia, Hong Kong, New Zealand, these companies could say, hey, look, guess what? Come and work with us during the summer. Thank you. So with that, I pass this on to Yazdi, who will continue our conversation.
Hi. Edul has spoken about WZCC and how it is expanding its reach. And Farrokh has also spoken about the great work that ZFN has already done and is going to do in the next 1 year. We will now quickly run through the digital assets that we have to help you and your friends and family take advantage of and participate in spreading the word. So we have certain websites. We have a Facebook page, we have a YouTube channel, all coordinated to help friends and family and the students to take advantage of the entire network that we have. So let me share with you a couple of websites before we proceed. Just 1 second. So the first one is the WZCC website, which you all may be familiar with. We have a large area for advertising on the WZCC website, and a small thing which I must insist that all of you must click on the mailers icon on the right and click and enter your name and email address for getting mailers from WZCC. Now this is not only for members, but this is also for non-members. So anyone who wants to find more information about WZCC and get regular e-blasts must register themselves here. Once they register themselves here, they will get an email asking for a confirmation. Once they confirm, they will start getting mails from the next mail onwards. The only point that you must note is sometimes these mails go into your spam folder. So one time you have to go and unspam it or mark it as not spam, and then onwards you'll start getting the mailers. The ZF website is very simple. Here we are talking about the Zoroastrian Entrepreneurship Development Foundation, which is based in USA, which is a collaboration between WZCC and Fezana. Most of the information relating to ZF is out here. You can just click on some of these links and you'll get more information. ZFN website is something which we must all go for. The ZFN website is very unique in the sense that it has a whole lot of stuff regarding, if you see the categories here, you will see education, information, internships, scholarships, webinars, all of these. So if you just click on any one category, you will see all the webinars in one place, and all the past webinars are also available out here. Scholarships is a very important tool which everybody must go if you are looking at scholarships for study in India or abroad. So you've got a whole lot of scholarships listed here. It's a treasure trove of information which is available for any student willing to study either in India or abroad. So we go on putting stuff here, and to ensure that you get what you want, again, you have to subscribe here via email. Just enter your email address out here and say subscribe. And from then onwards, you will start getting mailers from the Zoroastrian Faculty Network. We also have a YouTube channel, which is Zoroastrian Faculty Network. If you just search for Zoroastrian Faculty Network, or you go to the link called bit.ly/ZFN YouTube, and you will find the entire range of webinars that we have had in the past. We have got 14 webinars. This webinar also will be up within the next 24 hours. And you can go and learn from any of these webinars, whatever interests you. And this is what we have done almost for the last 12 to 14 months. And we will continue doing it for the next 12 months, as Farrokh has already explained. We also have a Facebook page where we go on putting up everything that is on the webinar, keeps getting, everything that is there on the website keeps getting uploaded out here. Plus we have lots of webinars, lots of links, lots of internships. Everything that you want to know about ZFN goes to the ZFN Facebook page. So quickly, just to recapitulate, I'll just share my screen again. So you have wzcc.org, you have zf.org, you have got Zoroastrianfacultynetwork.org, which has all these categories: education, internships, scholarships, webinars. Please join the mailing list for the latest updates. The YouTube channel is bit.ly/ZFN YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates. So whenever you subscribe, what happens is, sorry. And the Facebook group is called facebook.com/Zoroastrian Faculty Network. Join, share, and participate. Thank you very much. And I now turn you on to the closing remarks by the various participants.
Farrokh Rustomjee, look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you so much to the panelists. We are coming towards the end of our formal presentations. So please think of questions you might want to ask from the panelists, put them in the chat box, or you can, Aisha Rabadi Raul is going to help us monitor that part of the Q&A session. So look forward to hearing from Farrokh Rustomjee.
Thank you, Behram. I would like to inform our listeners and the members of our organizations that a partnership between ZFN and WZCC would enable us to attain our objectives on a more sustainable basis. It would, in the long run, build synergies to help students to create economic, cultural, and intellectual value and give back to the society. Now, the ZFN and WZCC, in partnership with Zartusti faculty in academia, would make it possible for our Zartusti youth through higher and specialized education to prepare for the 21st century careers in industry, government, and academia, as well as entrepreneurship. Raising funds for higher education is always a challenge, both for the students and the parents, and ZFN does a lot to help this mitigate the problems. ZFN has conducted several webinars on providing information to students related to higher education and its funding. One such webinar was held with the CEOs of the J.N. Tata Trust, the United States Educational Foundation, the Fulbright Scholarship Program, and the R.D. Setner Scholarship Fund. As Edul had mentioned to you, the Zoroastrian Education Fund is proposing to give a loan scholarship of up to $30,000 to a scholar for a master's program in entrepreneurship. An R.D. Setner Scholarship Fund and Mr. Neville Schraub, who is the president and managing trustee of the Zoroastrian Association and Zoroastrian Charitable Trust of Hong Kong, Canton, and Macau, have also indicated their willingness to support a scholar. So what would be the desired outcomes of all this exercise? It would be a partnership between ZFN and WZCC. Members would collaborate within themselves to launch startups. WZCC chapters should create greater awareness of ZFN activities in their regions. Industry stalwarts could be requested to provide mentoring services pro bono to prospective students and candidates. It would be nice to have a student exchange program between our WZCC chapters. We try to program our webinars in such a way that we cover most of the regions of the world, but sometimes due to time factors, one or the other region gets left out. But nevertheless, all our webinars are recorded and anybody could log in, as Yazdi Tantra has mentioned, to view and understand and take the benefit as much as possible. Thank you very much. I now hand over the mic to Karishma to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Farrokh. If we look at the audience today, it is proof of this concept of the network of collaboration. And that's what this is all about. And the emergent property of the nexus between economic, social, and the intellectual domains is the strength of the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce. So that as we work together, we're focusing on continued learning, giving back, and nurturing this desire to change through inspiring people to both innovate and implement. So this synergy between the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce, the Zoroastrian Entrepreneurship Development Fund, the Zoroastrian Faculty Network, Fazana, the WZO Trust, the Trust of Hong Kong and Macau, enables this empowerment of entrepreneurs, both at the academic level and at the implementation level, being both economic and social. So what we really would love for you to do is to participate and grow this network so that we create value together, taking the best of each of these to make the best world for all. And the important thing is this: all of you are important, so that through the different ages of the development of the child, the adult, the family, and the network, we achieve what Edul mentioned, which is a holistic development. As Farrokh said, be part of this network. Give us internships so that through theory and implementation working synergistically together, the emergent property is growth for all. And this network is the strong network which will form a nexus between all of us that will grow in a sustainably developed fashion for the future. With that, I'll hand over back to Behram Pastakia. Over to
Thank
you,
you,
Behram.
panelists, for this overview. I saw there are a few questions in the chat box. We'll get to those in a minute. Before we do that, I wanted to underline the purpose of this webinar is for us to understand that we are all coming together, making WZCC broader because of the intellectual, social, and economic synergies. That's the whole purpose of this webinar. And we want to make sure that message gets through. So before I go on to the questions in the chat box, I have a question for Edul Daver. Edul, you talked about entrepreneurship creating economic, social, and intellectual value. Could you give us a specific example of this so that it's clearer in our minds as to what you're talking about?
Yeah, Behram, very appropriate. You can see very easily this happening in some of our big corporations, like the Tata or the Godrej Group. They're obviously creating economic value or they wouldn't have survived. You can see the social work they're doing, which is very visible. And intellectually, they are creating new products and services to stay ahead of the game. However, I would like to highlight this much clearer in a small company. Take Jehan Kotwal, his company, JFK Transports. He took it over as a very, very small company, has grown his fleet tremendously, putting in a lot of creating a lot of economic value. Most of you have heard of the safety app that he's developed, where drivers use the app for better, safer driving condition, resulting in saving lives. Now, he didn't have to do that as a trucking company, but he saw the social responsibility and value of doing it. And obviously, to develop an app such as this, you needed intellectual value to go into the app and put it to use. So a perfect example of economic, social, and intellectual value went into it. So, that's one example. I'm sure you all have many such examples you can think of. And the purpose is to maximize all three values in a corporation to have the best outcome,
Thanks, Edul. I'm going to take the questions out of order depending upon how it goes. There is a question from Temus Bharucha which says, maybe get the idea for funding higher education for Zoroastrians from India by way of scholarships and loans. So I'm going to address that question to Farrokh Rustomjee.
There are several trusts which grant scholarships to students from India. And one can go on to the website of ZFN, where all the scholarship available are listed. You can also contact me directly or to your respective consulate offices in major cities in India, that is the USIS, the British Council, the Alliance Française. They will all have information on scholarship programs and help the students get into university. We have tie-up with a couple of universities in India as well as abroad. And if anybody wants to have more details, please do get in touch with me.
Thank you. Yazdi, could you please unmute Phil Kharas? He would like to share a comment and we'd like to hear from him.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm very impressed by what you all are doing together to help startups and entrepreneurs. I have been associated with the Business Advisory Committee of the WZCC India region. There is a very valuable book published by WZCC called Learning to Succeed, which talks about the basic principles of management to be used for success and how to make a business plan. This is what has helped young entrepreneurs. So I think all of you should take the opportunity of reading that book, which is on the website, India region website, and give me your feedback. Edul has read it. I have sent it to his colleague also. So this is a very useful book on information. This is
Thanks,
what I would
thanks.
like to share with you.
I appreciate that comment. And yes, we must take you up on that. And we look forward to interacting in the future. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Welcome.
There's Shirna Siganporia has a question. Maybe we can unmute her, Yazdi, because I think her question is on career coaching, which maybe Farrokh Mistree from Oklahoma could address. So can we hear from Shirna Siganporia, please?
You need to
You're
unmute
muted.
yourself.
So I work with students in India and I work with placement services and helping students to get placed. The problem that happens is, what do I do after the 10th? What do I do after? So the career coaching program that we have started, wherein we sit with children or young adults, I would like to call them, and help them to see a career path. We're also trying to show them alternative careers and alternative and emerging careers, and not stick to just BA, BCom, BSc. There's so much more happening in India. We need more information and help for students in India to pick up, especially Parsi students. When I look at some of the CVs also, you've either done some BCom, you've either done some BSc, but not gone beyond. Those are base degrees. But in India also, we have so many emerging careers. I'm working with a startup now, just now. He's a drone pioneer. So we're working with how drones could be used for agriculture, for site mapping, for working with pharma, and soon is going to become a great industry in India. I don't see any Parsis out there, but I'm working with an past student of mine, helping them to work on this. If more students pick up emerging careers, there's a lot happening in India. We'd like more information on that also. I've been talking to Yazdi about this. We need more students studying in India. And if they want to go abroad, maybe for post-graduation, yes, we need help and support from ZFN to mentor, guide, and tell us which will be the best universities to move into and how they can take their careers further. So we are looking for an India level where we want to raise the level of even our children out here, the young adults, to pick up alternative and emerging careers. And also, some students don't go for further studies because there's no money. So what are some of the scholarships? And not everyone is a 90%er to get the scholarship. So are there soft loans which can be given to children, students to pursue higher studies?
Thank you so much for your comments. Appreciate that. Let's move on for an answer. But before we get the answer, there's a note from Viraf Debu.
Sorry, Behram, is Farrokh going to address
yes.
Shana's? Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I'm just going to put that together with another question and let Farrokh answer that question. So there are multiple questions here which go to the same point. Career coaching is needed. Firdos Irani says, can we include career counseling workshops? They are all part of the same theme. So I'd request Farrokh Mistree to address these questions together. Farrokh Mistree, it's yours.
The issue that you've raised is absolutely perfect. And the answer to that is the difference, what we are trying to bring about is the difference between a career and a naukri.
Absolutely.
Now, since you talked about how do you get people to become entrepreneurs in these new fields, it is best done at the local level.
Yes.
You have lots of entrepreneurs in India who are part of the WZCC network. And it is the entrepreneurs who come along and say, guess what? This is what I got into. This is how my business has moved. And these entrepreneurs can be social entrepreneurs like Rohinton Mehta. Is that right, Ethan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rohinton Mehta. And there are other people who are entrepreneurs in terms of different businesses and stuff like that. So I think this is done at the local level, having people who are in industry Edul mentioned one person, having him talk to people, having him mentor people. And this takes care of people who may not have the grades to go overseas and get further studies. So that's one part of the answer. The second part of the answer is that we would love to have a webinar along the lines of what you've talked about. So if you could email me, as I've put in the chat, and tell me what you have in mind and who we could bring in, we could certainly have a ZFN webinar along these lines.
Thank you.
The third part is I think more than career counseling of students, it's counseling of parents. What is modern parenting about? What is the relationship between parents and children? Because I have found that parents in India, their whole thing with their children is, hey, guess what? Which job is going to give you the most money? That's the career you get into. That is what you do. So there has to be a change in mind and attitude, not just of the child, but of the family. Now that again is something that can be done at the local level. So for example, if you organized a parent and child get together, you could have people come along like Karishma can talk about how do you, what is involved in the, how do you get the family involved in getting people to find their dream, to meet their objectives, to define their goals, to deal with stress and things along those lines. So we would be very happy to do it, but that is outside the scope of the Zoroastrian Faculty Network, but certainly within the ambiance or within the environment of the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce. So please email me. I'll put you in touch with the appropriate people, and we can certainly help you put something like this together.
Thanks, Farrokh. I request the
Behram,
audience
could
to
I
continue.
add a little bit to that?
Yes, sure, please.
Yeah, Shonaz, the one thing that we're working on is, the ZF offers money to budding entrepreneurs, but the budding entrepreneurs have to have already started their business and are able to show some cash flow. So we are able to, make sure that they're able to return the funds that we're giving out. But we have a new program we're looking at with IIT Gandhinagar, which all you need is a good idea. And within they have suspended this program because of COVID. But when they do start up again, which could be in the next 6 months or so, we are going to have a call out for people who have ideas. We don't need a fancy business plan. We don't need anything. We need people who think they have an idea which is going to be, a new product, a new service, or whatever. And if they get selected, it's a 6-week intensive entrepreneurship program, which IIT offers. They go through the 6-week program. At the end of it, a few people are selected for their ideas, and they have incubation money available to help them develop into practical products and commercial. So this will be fantastic for these new careers that we're looking for. But even going a step further, all you need is an idea you think you can make commercial. So when we put this out, we are very eager that we don't end up with no applicants. We want to be sure we get 2, 3, 5, 6 applicants who can participate. And this incubation part of it, if they're finally selected, will be funded by Rasna, Rasna Products in Ahmedabad.
Will they?
Thanks, Edul. I wanted to bring in
You
Behram
have to be an
Pastakia.
entrepreneur to further your business, another new idea, or can you be a new entrepreneur?
It could be anyone. Yeah, he's got, IIT will have a sort of a guideline to what they accept. So they'll have an application, and if they fit that criteria, they'll be selected into the 6-week program.
Thank you, Edul. We'll look into.
Thanks. Let's move on to the next question. I want to bring in Behram Pastakia, who is thinking a little outside the box. Behram, could you speak up, please? Yazdi, could you unmute him?
Yeah. So, I look after the W0 trust funds in Pune, and I'm getting a lot of applications from students who want to study outside of USA and UK. Very often to Russia and, the old USSR communities and countries. And I'm finding that many of our trusts are not funding such students, or are not really able to understand the needs of these students. So this is something that I want the ZFN to address, because we have to move beyond this. It can't be just USA and UK centric.
Can I answer that question, Behram?
Yes, please, Farrokh Rustomjee, please answer the question.
I would like to also answer some of the questions posed by Shanaz Chiganporia about career counseling. Now, just for your information, the Bombay Parsi Panchayat runs a special program for students in the summer vacation called the HPY program. That is the holiday program for the youth. And in that program, there is a separate chapter dealt with career counseling, higher studies, counseling for students. And it's a very good program which runs for 1 month. I address these students on scholarship opportunities available and also counseling. So do take advantage of this program. If you want more details, do write to me or directly to the Parsi Panchayat and they will respond to you. Thank you.
I am not talking of career counseling. I'm talking of career coaching. Career counseling is different from career coaching. So when we do career coaching, we literally have sessions on coaching the student or the person along with the parents. And we guide them through the career path as to what they need to take. For example, if a student wants to do sports coaching, he wants to do sports medicine. Parents wonder, why should he do sports medicine? He's interested in sports, wants to take up a career as a sports mentor and a medicine. Now, there is no counseling here. He's very clear as to what he wants. The coaching takes place as to understanding how he wants to go ahead, what is he looking forward to, what are some of the time frame he wants to work with, what are some of the learnings he'll have to put in, the hours he'll have to put in. So there's a whole coaching that takes place. So there is, in India now, we have people with us on WZCC Bangalore chapter also. We call ourselves career coaches. So if anybody, I mean, parents can come to us, we sit with them and we do it gratis. And we sit with them and we literally let them create and talk with us and create their path, the career path. Counseling comes, in a generic way. Career coaching is very specific into a career. I want to take it up. I want to do this. How do I go ahead? What are some of, it's a long-term plan and thing which we plan along with the student. It's a program that, it's a career path. We help them at various, levels. For example, in the beginning, you need to, this is your idea, fantastic. A boy said, I want to become a vet. I want to create this. I want to do this, wonderful. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do? How do you want to go forward? Do you know what you need to put in? Yeah, I want to do it because I saw some. No, you can't do this because you saw some animals in pain. You can't be a vet. You've got to think it out. I'm not counseling you. I'm just telling you this is what a vet needs to do. These are your responsibilities. This is the action you have to take. This is your accountability as a vet in the society. So when you study to become a vet, be prepared that you may not have great money flowing in. If you're thinking that is not going to happen. So what are your goals? What are your, what is it that you're looking forward to in life? So it is very different from counseling. As a counselor, I counsel students, but as a career coach, I hand them over to the career coach. And that is very different. So
thank you very much for making that distinction.
We may do
Shanaz,
Shanaz,
thank you very much for making that distinction.
Sorry,
in the interest of equity, let's ask others on the panel to also speak. Anybody else have a question?
I'm sorry.
Please, anybody else on the panel want to ask a question? Please put it in the chat box. In the meantime, I'm going to address the question to Edul to see what he has to say about this. ZEDF is less than 1 year old. How has it done so far? How much money has been collected? Who has been helped? Can you give us a sense of what's going on there? Because we have talked a lot about WZCC and ZFN, but we haven't focused so far on ZEDF.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as you mentioned, it's been in operation for less than a year. We put a call out, and Yazdi had actually shown that one page on the computer of that we were looking for monies from donors, and then we were looking for applicants for the monies. Now, in less than 1 year, we've been able to collect $225,000 and an additional $150,000 in pledges. So I think it's a substantial amount. And in spite of a lot of people indicating that they were committed to, to contributing towards COVID. So in spite of that, we were able to raise this much funds. And that shows that when the cause is good and people understand what the money is going to be used for, there is money around to collect. So I look at this item really not as a donation, but as a people making an investment, because we are making an investment in the youth, and then the monies are used. The monies are returned from the loan, used again. So your money is being used over and over again. So we are very happy with the financial part of it. Our target is to get to at least 500,000 by the end of 2022. And so far we've given 2 loans. The first loan is to Civio LLC, which is made up of Homiar Gandhi, Kushnam Crawford, and Dr. Eric Minasian. It's a food supplement business. Their first product is called Myco Comfort Plus, is an all-natural muscle and nerve support supplement with proactivity, helps with pain, fatigue, and stress. And by the way, to test the product out, I've ordered it and started using it. And initial prognosis is it has definitely reduced my cramping. I used to get occasional cramps, but it's definitely helped. So a little plug for them. The second loan, which we are about to grant, is to Anita Khan and Cash Karis, and it's called Pyro Pastrami. They are in Berkeley, California. Very trendy restaurant, very close to high-tech industry and the campus, and they have an extremely good business plan. It's a 2,700 square feet restaurant, and that'll probably be the second one. The third one, which will probably happen in the first quarter of next year, they've already indicated that they're interested in it, but they, for certain reasons, want to wait till next year, is for a school. They have, I believe, multiple schools, and they would like to build one brand new school to consolidate it. It's a huge project. It's like a $2 to $3 million project, but essentially they're looking for help from us to get a small business loan. So the monies that we would give would form the down payment to get even a larger loan. So that gives you an example that it's active. We would certainly like to receive more applicants, and the word has to, get around to enable us to do it. So please help in that regard.
Thanks, Edul, for that. I want to bring in Aisha Rabadi Raul here for a minute. On one of the slides that Edul had shown, he focused in on the young entrepreneurs. They're very young. You're giving very little children a chance to become, learn how to become leaders right from the age of middle school and high school. And since Aisha has experience in dealing with the children, what is your opinion, Aisha, about starting very early in life? Edul has this story that what goes around a dinner table gets by symbiosis, it goes into by osmosis, the children pick it up. I'd like to hear your opinion as a professional dealing with little children.
I will definitely talk about that, but I just want to bring your attention to the comments of Homi Gandhi and others in the chat box. Viraf Debu has also spoken about going beyond UK and USA and thinking about how, we can think about further studies in other countries as well. So I don't want to neglect those comments in the chat box. And also Natalie Gandhi wanted to talk about some examples. So I'm just queuing up. Maybe they can talk after me. I'll be very brief. I'm an early childhood educator, so I don't know if entrepreneurship starts beyond before 8 years old. It's 0 to 8 early childhood. So that's a little early for entrepreneurs, although I see a lot in the toddler room. Little ones are very entrepreneurial in, doing things. So I don't think I'm a good person to talk about that. But I mean, given from my own experience, I know that I started working with young children, even though I had done my bachelor's in fine art from the JJ School of Arts. So I wanted to go into advertising, but then I started a part-time job at a children's development center, and then I was hooked. So I decided to pursue a career in early childhood. So I think it's important for young people to also think about that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to think about alternative things. If you had planned something, you don't have to stick with it. If you feel that you'll be happier doing something else, like Farrokh Mistree spoke and said, career versus Naukri. So just thinking about what will bring you joy and what would be more sustainable throughout life, not just, going to work every day and coming back. So yes, children bring me joy. So I decided to go in for a career in that. All right. So I think maybe if Homi Gandhi wants to speak, we can unmute him. Yazdi, please. And Natalie Gandhi also wanted to share some examples.
Hi. I mentioned about the areas where education is becoming more prevalent. New opportunities are being created in the areas where US and UK have been the old schools, which are very familiar. Singapore is one of the great area. Russia has been an old area where these studies are very prevalent in education, in science, and other areas. Germany, France, Australia, New Zealand, they are also less expensive. And that is also, we should be looking into it. There should not be studies, schools where not many people are going or not many people are taking opportunities, but they should be recognized places. So I think what I'm saying is that there are availability of schools there, and we should be looking at those places and guiding the students, and the students who are interested to go in the subjects where these universities and schools are located. We should be guiding those students to go there. Thank you.
I think that's wonderful. So if in this network we know someone like Farrokh Mistree has suggested, it's not my idea, just in the chat, but thinking about if we know Zoroastrian faculty who have the time and the inclination to help students in these other countries, if you know someone in Germany or in Australia or New Zealand and you can connect us with them, then we'd be very grateful. You can send an email to Farrokh Mistree and connect us, because I think that is definitely a very important next step. So thank you for bringing that up.
Sure, I will. I get many times or sometimes some inquiries coming from people, and I'm unable to help them, but I guide them to the places where I know. And ZFN is a real great achievement on a part of the Russians, I think, and this will be a very good opportunity for guiding them to Farrokh Mistree and the members of ZFN. Thank you.
So
Natalie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah.
Natalie, please go ahead. Natalie Gandhi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I just wanted to go ahead and give a couple more examples of the intellectual, social, and economic value that can arise in the course of one's career. There are a few examples that I really like. One of them is an eye doctor who was a tenured professor at the University of Chicago and was doing research in eye disease. And he invented a drug that has to be injected into the eye, the back of the eye, but it helps treat macular degeneration. Well, it wasn't enough for him to just do the research. He actually left a tenured position to go start a startup company and take some of his researchers with him to the new company to develop this drug and offer it commercially. So there you can see that the intellectual value goes into the economic sphere. And of course, it's serving the social purpose of alleviating this very dreadful eye disease that causes blindness in people. And it was very, very brave. I mean, first of all, you have to be brave to inject somebody's eye, but to leave a tenure-track job at a top university, take your research team, and then be responsible for what happens to that team as an employer is a very brave act. So entrepreneurship really calls for those capacities of exceeding virtue in that regard, that kind of courage. And even in our own community, we have somebody from, actually it's the same school, happens to be the same school, University of Chicago, was a heart researcher. And she and her husband were together doing research in heart disease. And she has founded a company that helps train surgeons with imaging the heart and looking at the heart and doing surgery all at the same time with 3D visualization techniques, virtual visualization techniques. And she's been a Entrepreneur of the Year awardee, I believe, from WZCC. So, you know, when you do serious intellectual research, it can lead to commercial development. She has gotten startup funding from the University of Chicago, from other sources, from angel investors, and now from venture investors. So right in our own community, we have that going on. It's very exciting to see, very wonderful. And it's a nice example of intellectual, economic, and social growth happening across the board through some version of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Natalie
Natalie, for that example. I would like to recognize Javeed Kantinwala. Yazdi, could you please unmute him? He's got an interesting insight. We need to hear from him. Javeed Kantinwala. You can introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and share your thoughts.
Hi, I'm Javed Kantinwala from London, and it was just a suggestion that the ZFN should in some way vet the universities that students are actually planning to go to, because it's a considerable amount of money and, more importantly, a considerable amount of time and effort that our youngsters are going to be putting into a degree. And whilst I get the point around the non-traditional, doctors, lawyers, engineers, etc., it is even more profound when people invest a considerable sum of money to go and do a degree, which then leads to no employment prospects, no entrepreneurial possibilities, etc. And very often, I certainly, and people at the ZTFE certainly, only get in touch with people after they've done these degrees and are desperately looking for roles in the UK or for looking for careers elsewhere. So I think a role that the ZFN could certainly play is to help guide and vet individual candidates from not going to, and we've all been there, we've all seen the caliber of universities in the UK, in the US, elsewhere in the world, which perhaps are not up to standard, and therefore future employers, particularly in this job market, wouldn't consider people to apply for them. And it's pretty heartbreaking when you come across people who've been to a second-rate or a third-rate university and done a second-rate or a third-rate course. And then these guys are enthusiastic and are looking for roles. It's very, very hard to help these people. So I think if we could do something early on and encourage people to be a little bit more selective about the kind of institutions they work in, or they decide to choose to, go and study again, and that would be really helpful.
Thank you, Javid. I want to address this question to Karishma Koka in London. Karishma, you are in the right place to answer this. You are a mentor for many young people, both Zoroastrian and non-Zoroastrian. Could you share your thoughts on this issue? It's a very important issue. I think a lot of money goes down the tubes because the students end up in colleges which don't really provide them any value.
Thank you very much, Javid. It's absolutely key, and the Zoroastrian Faculty Network has done at least 2 webinars, extended our hand to students and their parents for exactly this, so that they listen both to the voice from within and to the information from the outside, evaluate, and then decide so that they can then add value and make something that adds value to the lives of other people. So you've raised an extremely important point, and we look to you to refer us to people who we can help and build the network. Thank you, Behram.
Yeah, are there any more questions coming? Because we don't want to prolong this too long, and you can bring it to a close unless there are some burning questions. I'd like to wrap up.
I would like to make a statement, if it's all right.
Yes, please, Farrokh, you are the founder of ZFN. We'd like to hear your statement, and then I'll close it.
So I'm really touched with the interest in helping people get graduate education, not just in the United States and the United Kingdom and Canada, but also in Europe, in Australia, in other places. And so we are looking to expand the number of faculty who are involved in the ZFN. So we really do need, so if you have ideas, like Homi has ideas, or Javed has ideas, or knows of faculty in these institutions, we'd love to talk to them. And I would certainly love to put together a team who would respond to these sorts of questions and things along those lines and provide guidance. Now, one of the countries that has an outstanding education system is India. One doesn't have to look overseas to go out and get an undergraduate education. I get a number of inquiries from Western parents about sending their children to the United States to study engineering. That's ridiculous in my mind. Absolutely ridiculous. It's a huge waste of money, but they have the money and they want to spend it, so that's okay. So it is not just getting a higher degree in the United Kingdom and the United States, but getting a higher degree in India. I'm on the advisory board of a number of such institutions in India, and I know the quality of the institutions at certain places and stuff like that. So getting a higher degree is important, and getting a higher degree that will help the person improve his or her quality of life and also help this person invest in others is the sort of thing we should be looking for. So when Karishma said to look within yourself and think about what makes you happy as opposed to what pays you the best, a lot of money, is a very important issue. So that's the thought I'd like to leave you with. So I'm not just gung-ho on going to India, going abroad. I believe that there are good institutions in India, and we should be encouraging our Zoroastrian youth to study in India and to get degrees in India and to invest in helping India, and if they are from Pakistan or Iran, wherever they are, to go out and contribute to society in their countries.
Thank you, Farrokh. I want to bring this webinar to an end. It's been an interactive dialogue, which we have all enjoyed. What I take away from this is that we are all here to underline the idea of giving back. Many of us in the core group feel privileged for the education we received, and we all have this urge to give back somehow. And ZDF, WZCC, ZFN, all these different institutions are providing a channel for us to give back. So we're looking for like-minded people who have that fire in their belly to give back to the community. And if you know such people, please connect them with us. We'd like to continue this dialogue going forward. It's not finishing here. And we look forward to continuing this conversation through what Yazdi Tantra has provided. He's given us all the tools for us to make it happen. And with that, I'd like to bring it to a close and say thanks to all my panelists who've done a wonderful job and everybody who attended and participated. Yazdi, we could stop the recording.